Good morning, guys. How is everybody doing? I'm having an amazing day. I'm in a really good place right now. It's like, asked me 2 weeks ago, I wasn't. And I just wanted to share because that's basically like, that's just life. That's the human experience. It's like, appreciating the really amazing days when everything just kind of like comes together. And just take really good care of yourself on the days it's not. Hi, how are you? But yeah, I just wanted to, I did a post yesterday on having some availability for one-on-one coaching, and I wanted to talk about that today because that is what I'm offering. I have so many things going on right now, so I'm like, I can commit to, I have 4 more spots officially still available. So if anyone is interested in one-on-one coaching for their business, reach out to me, like DM me, however you want to get a hold of me, and we'll get the ball rolling. But yeah, this is also in reference to, I was thinking like, sometimes I feel like a crazy person in the way it's like, the things that kind of just like fit together for me, I'm just like, how did that happen? And I know it's not just like all me. It's like, I do believe in the like us being co-creators and our reality, for our reality with the universe. And then there's also, obviously the practical things that just have to get done in regards to our businesses and growing a successful business. And I'm all about that. It's like, even just now I've been reading this, look how thick this book is. This is the Tools of Titans book, and I'm also reading I'm catching myself back up on it, an MIT approved blueprint for growing startups. And it's just like all these practical things, and like Tools of Titans is amazing. If anyone likes Tim Ferriss, I always resonated with him because he's just off the wall. But also too, it's like I don't have it on my desk, but I'm also reading, it's like I read all my spiritual books, and I realized I was like, that's what I was missing through a lot of my, like the first like almost decade in business, was missing out on, it's like trying to always implement practical things, practical, without doing any mindset work, without doing any any, I guess, like manifestation, like the spiritual laws of the universe, without implementing any of that, without even embracing more self-care. That, guys, like the first time, and I did a video on this on my YouTube channel, it was after like 3 or 4 years in business, my mom was like, hey, you and I are taking a girls trip. We're going to a spa resort in Arizona, and we're going to spend a week there. And at the time I was like, I can't leave my business. At the time I was running a 24/7 business, and it was doing really well, but I was in that state of where a lot of entrepreneurs can get really hung up on, where you become the bottleneck, you do not know how to delegate, you feel constantly tied. Like it will freak you the F out to not have your phone or your computer or be available for your customers in case of, I was always worried about crap. So, something happening. So all those fears, and this is before I knew how to relax or meditation or yoga or just embracing in my spiritual side. And obviously that is multidimensional, right? So it can go all these levels. But my mom took me to this beautiful resort where I basically got massages twice a day, ate amazing high vibe food. Actually, I didn't do any yoga, but my body, I did not realize how exhausted and drained and burnt out I was. So for anyone out there, and even just, sometimes like all that, we don't realize how many fears and doubts and insecurities we carry. And I'm not saying like, I'm talking to you guys today, not because like, oh, overnight I decided to shift everything. And it's like, yeah, you can decide in one night you want to shift everything. But it's the beautiful thing about the process is it just gets better and better. As long as you stay, you have like a higher purpose, or you have a higher goal in mind, and you're more powerful than you originally thought. And you know that like when those fears come up, or the comparison or fear of judgment, or anything that can come up, you realize like that's just noise, and that doesn't have to be my truth. And because it's like, if you guys go back and feel free to look at that post I did, I've literally, I always hear like we have a million justifiable excuses for ourselves and our businesses. And it's like, especially as spiritual entrepreneurs, it's like the idea of, am I too old or am I too young? Am I smart enough? Do I have enough degrees or certifications? Do I have enough experience? And it's like, all that's just bullshit, and you just have to do it, take the bull by the horns and do it anyway. Or, whatever the fear is. And it also, like, the idea of, like, other people, there's just a myriad of things that can come up to try to stop us. And this is one of my, not a mistake I made, but what I realized was like, oh my gosh, how important this is. The reason why I offer one-on-one coaching is because when I finally gave myself permission to get a coach, and I don't even know really what finally pulled the trigger, or what made me pull the trigger on this. I just remember I was just like, I resonated with, I was following somebody, and it wasn't even business related, but I knew that they could help me. I knew I had things I wanted to do, and I kept stopping myself, and it was driving me insane. I was getting tired of dealing with the same fears over and over, being afraid of marketing, being afraid of growing, being afraid of having my deepest desires, my goals, my dreams, actually form. And, there's that idea too of, like, being afraid of success, and you have to, like, kind of just overrule your fears. It's like sometimes our subconscious, we unconsciously want to protect ourselves, so we stay in our comfort zone wherever that is, even though we're like, I really want this, and like, how do I make that happen? And you might not realize just even the fear of jumping out of your comfort zone is stopping you. And it's okay, because you can easily turn that back around. Even, like, honestly, like, embracing spiritual tools, embracing, like, your inner work, personal development, having someone support you through this has been through this, okay? Like, I have had all the fears. I have had a million excuses. I used to compare myself whenever I was trying to, like, get a new contract for my other business. And I can, like, safely say now it's like, oh my gosh, after doing this work and having a coach, or either being in a mastermind or having a coach, I was like, a lot of, like, if you talk to a lot of the high level entrepreneurs, like all the women entrepreneurs, or I mean men too, like all the ones I talk to, they have an amazing support team in whatever fashion that is. And it usually will include some sort of business coach. If you're in business, it's okay. It is okay to have that. I can't tell you how much easier it makes things. It's going to be like, if you're wanting to expand your world, expand more dreams into your reality. Hi. It is super scary. But, like when you say, like when you finally do get like a coach or join a mastermind, it's like you're saying, okay, yes, I know this is scary, but I'm brave right now. Even though I don't feel ready, I'm saying I am ready to expand out of this and have the support necessary. Sometimes it's like if you've ever been skydiving, the first time you go skydiving, you don't jump out of that plane yourself. Good morning. You do it tandem. You have an instructor with you that has already done it a million effing times. You're strapped onto them, and they will help jump you out of the airplane. I did do skydiving once when I was like 19. So it's like, yeah. And the same thing with like business, when you're trying to up level, when you're like, and you're trying to like, or whatever you are trying to do, it doesn't have to be just business. This is like just making your dreams happen. So even if you're in like a regular job, which, yeah, no judges, I was like, no judgment at all. It's like if you're in a regular job, but you still might have fears about being able to get a promotion, or, start a side hustle too, which is always beautiful. Like all those things, like anytime you're having fears, you just need someone, and especially if you're surrounded by people that haven't done it, or they're like, oh, that's a crazy idea. Like the last thing an entrepreneur or someone who's got entrepreneurial dreams or really big dreams outside of anything that can compare to anyone else they know or in their bubble, it's like the last thing we need to hear is like, oh, that's crazy, because you already feel crazy, It doesn't help like having other people say like, oh, that's a stupid idea, or the fear of they won't understand. And it's like I've had to work through that too, just even being like calling myself a coach. I had to struggle with that, as silly as that sounds, or feeling like I'm ready for that, even though I've already gone through all this journey of work and inner work. So anyway, how are you doing, Laura? What's going on? I'm just talking, yeah. So I have 4 spots for one-on-one coaching, And I am reaching out to anyone that is interested to help you if you are ready to take that next step and have someone who's been there, who's not going to call you crazy, and help give you obviously like practical tools for this, but also like merging the spiritual side of things, us as spiritual beings, and embracing the full capacity for us to be able to, like, we have these big goals, but how do we make these happen? How do we unapologetically go after them? Like when you are feeling called to do something, how do you find the best way to guilt-free and confidently say, this is what I am, this is what I do, this is how I help, without doubting yourself, and it's really like all that mindset work. It just makes, once, like, even just taking baby steps towards mindset work, it just helps everything go so much better. And like when shit happens or shit hits the fan, you have like a bad day, it makes it that much easier, not having not going into like the pit of despair or self-pity or stress or burnout over, if anything happens. It's like, and then also to enjoy like when things do click together. Like today I've had amazing things happen that have clicked together and just made everything so much. It's just like, okay, I'm in the flow, I'm in the zone. Oh, I know, it is. And I was like, I'm so grateful. It's like, we don't have to have it all figured out. That's like the amazing thing. Like, we don't have to have it all figured out. And I've talked to so many people, like people I look up to, and I'm realized like, they don't have it figured out either. That makes me feel so much better. I'm like, okay, none of us have this figured out. It's okay. So we can all play and experiment and, like trust, like when you're feeling nudged towards something, like creating something, starting something, like it's there for a reason. And it's okay to like, how I always like say, like, you don't have to know exactly how you're going to go about it. You just kind of need to know, like, what's your next step? What's that next step you're going to do? And not, just not give up, or not try and push it aside or repress it, kind of thing. So it's like, oh, okay, how can I nurture myself through this? But how can I start embracing these new possibilities that are wanting to come into my life? Whether that is through a side hustle, growing your business, even like permission to have, it's like also too, like I see people feel like they have to negotiate, like, okay, well, I just need this amount of money. That's like money is always a good example, but obviously there's more to it than just that, right? It's like we don't want to sacrifice emotional peace of mind for extra money. But like whenever someone says, oh, a 6-figure business, that's too crazy, or even like the idea of like having $1 million business, like, oh, I don't need that, I can just I can just take half that or a fraction of that and be okay. And it's like, what, that's not you don't have to negotiate that. You don't have to cap what you're wanting. Like if you have a business, and that's the thing, like especially as entrepreneurs, you don't ever cap the possibility for it. It doesn't mean, if it feels exhausting to make like, a livable income in your business and you're trying to figure out how to expand beyond that, yeah, that might scare you because you're like, I'm already working this many hours. I'm already this obsessed with my business. How can I make, how can I double that income, or how can I even reach that without sacrificing my sanity and my, my life in pursuit of this? And it's like, it doesn't have to be like that. Like the entrepreneurs that I have talked to that have really big businesses, they have learned to delegate in the process. And through that process, they're helping so many people. They're giving other people jobs. They're making beautiful things for other people that supports them as well. So the idea, it's okay to have a super successful business that is just bringing in all kinds of gorgeous income, because it helps others along the way. It's not a greedy thing. It's absolutely not a greedy thing to have that. And so it's like, we don't have to diminish ourselves or play ourselves down in pursuit of having a business, especially because like once you get a business going, it starts getting successful. It's usually super easy to, put support systems in there. Yay. Well, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for hopping on here with me. Yeah. I'm gonna drink a sip of coffee while I'm at it. So for anyone else watching, absolutely, don't feel like you have to cap it. Like if you say you want a successful business that supports you and your family, or whatever, or gives you extra money for vacations or whatever that is, it's like, it's okay to have it grow as big as it can. You don't feel like and this is again like the fear of just stepping out as, starting a business, the fear of growing a business, the fear of success. Like that's a legit thing. We can be so afraid of success or growing, and it's like, you know what? You just need to creatively find solutions to how to support you as you grow. So it's not depending on you having to work more or you having to drain yourself or burn yourself out in that process. So it's never, it's more of like just like kind of like being really comfortable with yourself in this process and like allowing divine inspired solutions to come in. Or like that usually helps. Like if you just give yourself a moment to step back, it's like whenever you're trying to solve a problem and you like sometimes it just helps to back away from it and then come back with fresh eyes. Give yourself a moment to relax before you don't go into freak out mode or panic mode. Give yourself that moment. But with that said, so for everyone watching, if you are interested, I would love if you are needing this support to help you through this journey of like going to the next level on any areas, getting new ideas, getting a new perspective. I have been there. It's like I have tried to get, like $1 million contracts. Actually the $1 million contract I was trying to get and ended up falling through. But I went through that whole process and I felt, being able to be at ease with that process and also not make it mean anything, because I have made, like when I've had an opportunity to take on a new client or a new customer or a new big contract, it's like whether it fails or succeeds, it's kind of like you're staying level, you're still keeping your eye on a higher goal in mind without having these like the day-to-day things, like if they fall through or if they all come together, you're not rocking your whole world in that process. You're not giving up in that process, or it's not depending, like you're just riding the waves. Okay, so amazing things, you're gonna have awesome successes, you're gonna have some failures, but I can say personally, like looking back over like 12 years of being a business 12 years, and also I was going to say too, I follow Manifestation Bae for anyone else that does, and I was actually a lot like her. She did a biology major, I did a biology major, and she was going to go to med school and then ended up going into business. And I remember starting her first business as well. And I remember I was on the same path. I majored in biology, was thinking about, an MD, and I realized I was like, okay, I'm either going to go to 4 years to med school and work my ass off to become a doctor, or I could work my ass off and start a business and get a business started. That would be, that would just be amazing. And I was so much more excited about starting a business because I realized like there is no limit. When you have a business, there is all of your goals can manifest through the business or businesses or however. So it's like the creative outlet of a business is unlimited. There's all the potential in the world. So it's like kind of like what do you and also that comes with that is like the needed discipline to make it happen, to really, and then also the discipline of your mind to really make those dreams happen, to like really really create what this is, because it's on you. It's not going to be based on another system. It's not going to be based on a boss or whatever. So this is why entrepreneurs have coaches, and this is not a gimmick. This is like a legit thing, like someone else to I consider myself a mentor, a motivator, a coach, an awesome, super enthused, someone who's super excited about helping out other women entrepreneurs that have been there or going through what I have had to go through. It's like helping you achieve like financial independence on your own terms and showing you it can be that easy, it can be that fun. It doesn't have to be overwhelmed or beating ourselves up for trying to be have this perfectionism. We do not have to worry about that or what other people think either. It's like it's okay for us to be like entrepreneurship is like you're having to like embrace your most unique self and authentic self and just be okay with it, okay with any OCD tendencies or your these crazy inspired ideas or thinking outside the box. Like all of these things are this is kind of like what entrepreneurship is. Yeah, like yes, they're like here, I'll show you guys here is my stack I'm working through right now. That whole gigantic, it's a book. This is like practical strategy. Here's, Tools of Titans. That's what I'm reading now. Practical strategies to help us, along that way, but also the mindset, the spiritual aspects to us, like us being soulful beings, soulful entrepreneurs, the mind, body, and spirit. It's not just having a super successful business, and like, what does that even mean? It's like, maybe that's it. I mean, obviously it's different for everybody, and my goal is, like, when I do one-on-one work, is helping you be able to embrace this process so much more easily. It's like the WD-40 for helping you get to, like, embracing what you're really wanting, and also knowing what really truly motivates you. It doesn't have to be what other people say it is, or what society at large expects, or what your friends or family think is best for you, especially if they haven't been entrepreneurs. And I have a lot of entrepreneurs in my family, so I'm like, like, my crazy self isn't, it's not, unheard of when I bounce off ideas. But even still then, like, I realize, like, I know what could be possible, and sometimes it doesn't always resonate with others if I'm trying to get feedback on, like, hey, what do you think about this idea? I think I'm going to do this. Sometimes it is literally just being able to say, okay, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm going to try this out. I feel called to experiment and see what could happen with this. This has huge potential, and kind of just, okay, if this resonates with anybody, a lot of people I've seen, they'll be like, I feel like people in the sidelines, or there's people that will be like those critics or those backseat drivers, and they're like, oh, that's impossible, that can never work. And then it's like, whenever I hear something like that, I'm like, watch this. We'll see if this works or not. And not just predetermine judge something or an idea until you actually see if it really does work. It could work. There's going to be all kinds of naysayers that just don't get it, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone is entrepreneurial minded, and that's okay. But if this is something that does resonate with you, please reach out to me. I would love to talk to you and really help you. It's like, go ahead and get this ball started. There's so many things, and it's like, sometimes, the last thing we have to do is finally just give ourselves permission, like, to really allow ourselves to go after it, really see what can happen. Like, go take your perspectives to the next level. Like, take what you think is even possible and really start to take action on it, and inspired action. And embracing who you are, what you're feeling called to do, what you're feeling. Hi, how are you? Hi, Robin. I'm getting ready to hop off, but I just wanted to reach out for anyone. Please reach out to me, DM me if you're interested. I have 4 spots available and would love to talk to you if this is something that would be that's calling to you. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for hopping on here with me, and talk to you guys soon. Bye.